Oh, it's been something of a bombshell here. Again, as we seem to keep saying in the Trump administration, there's never been anything like this before. A senior administration official breaking ranks and writing in the New York Times anonymously, and talking about the president as amoral and anti-democratic, and how there's a need to restrain and intervene to prevent his worst inclinations. It's triggered a political firestorm, as one would imagine. It's also set off a frenzy of speculation about who might have written this. As you can imagine, many people weighing in on Twitter to speculate, but others noting that the real tragedy, perhaps, and what's damning for Trump is that there are many people who could have written it, but potentially many people who feel this way. As you mentioned, there's been strong reaction from Trump and the White House, Trump himself, using words such as treason, which it self-evidently is not a case of treason, describing the author as gutless. And naturally having a dig at the New York Times. And indeed, one consequence of this on the Trump side is that it will be used as evidence of all his worst suspicions about a deep state that is out to get him. So you're also hearing that narrative on the right-wing side.
But David, many people will think that Donald Trump, he appears to be almost immune to exposés such as this. As you say, this isn't the first one. But how damaging do you think these allegations may prove to be, perhaps in the light of what came out yesterday in Bob Woodward's book, in excerpts from his book?
It's certainly a cumulative effect, isn't it? Because the timing of this op-ed in the New York Times is very striking. As you say, just a day after the first revelations from Bob Woodward's book, which again, many anonymous sources, but also some named sources, they're all saying pretty much the same thing about a president who is unfit for office, who just lacks maturity, is reckless. Is not driven by moral principle. And then in addition to those, you have the book by Omarosa, a former White House aide, with similar claims, and then going all the way back to Michael Wolff's book, Fire and Fury, in January, along with a lot of reporting done by the New York Times, Washington Post, The Guardian, many other media outlets, which add up to the same picture. So there is that cumulative effect. However, I think for half the country, that's very persuasive and will revive talk of impeachment. But there's a significant chunk who voted for Trump who are still unconvinced by this. And I think in a lot of the Trump heartland, so to speak, the strongholds where he was very popular, where he regularly holds public rallies, and he's got another one tonight in Montana, this op-ed will not be talked about. The New York Times itself is not widely read there. Woodward's book similarly will be seen as a Washington talking point. And so yet again, that hardcore of Trump support, maybe about a third of the country, 30-odd%, nearly 40% of voters, they will not pay much heed to this, and it will certainly not be a hot topic of discussion at tonight's Trump rally.